Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. It's Holly here, and I have such an exciting book that I'm going to talk to you about today. Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. I was so excited when this came out. And if you somehow stumbled upon this video and you don't know what this book is, it is the final book of a 7-book series, Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. Look it up if you don't know. Otherwise, I'm going to assume you know that series and that you've read this book, because there's really no spoilers reviews that I could give other than it was good. It was epic. I loved it. So if you haven't read this book, go away now because I'm going to talk about it. First thing is, you jump right into this book and there are so many plots that you have to follow. You have the Aelin story, you have Rowan, Gavriel, Elide, Lorcan story, you have Aedion and Lysandra, you have Dorian and Minot, and you have the Chaol story coming in. All of them are taking place in different areas, and it's 2 months later from Empire of Storms. So you have to kind of orient yourself to each situation, and that was the hardest part for me jumping into this book, is just trying to figure out where are they, what's going on. I mean, there's just so much to talk about. But first and foremost, everyone's gonna have their favorite characters, and I have to give Sarah J. Maas so much praise because she just can handle all these different point of views so well. I feel like I'm really into the character, whichever character I'm reading, and even if it's not a favorite character, she just does such a good job like putting you in that situation and enjoying what you're reading. With that being said, my favorites are Elide and Lorcan. I love Elide and Lorcan, and when it ended, like, that was probably one of my favorite parts of Empire Storm. So when it ended with Elide being like, I hate you, but we're gonna go and get Aelin together and I'm not gonna talk to you. And then Lorcan is just like this moody 500-year-old fae and he just wants her love. Oh, it's so good. I just loved anything with them, even though they didn't have a moment together for a while. So first of all, we get into Aedion's situation and how he's in Terrasen and there is war. I was not expecting to jump right into the war. I honestly wasn't looking forward to those chapters because I really don't like fighting scenes, but as you go through the book, she really is just kind of like, okay, that city is gone. They did the war. You didn't have to hear every single detail, and I loved that. But then as you get further into the book, she does go into the details, but they are so epic. All is lost and then something comes to save them. It just captured my attention really, really well. And then you also have him like hating Lysandra. I totally get why Aedion doesn't like Lysandra right now. Like, she lied to him, but he is so stubborn. He is just like, I'm gonna be rude to you. I don't care. I'm gonna be stuck in my ways. I like grit my teeth when I read about Aedion. Lysandra is just so awesome. I love her. She just does not take any crap from anyone, and when he like throws her out and then later he comes back to her and is like, I am so sorry, and she's just like, I've never been so humiliated in my life, and it took me dying almost for you to finally say sorry. No, that's not gonna do. Like, bam, oh yeah. Can we just talk about that moment when she became Aelin and basically was giving up her life? All the men were rallying finally against her, and Aedion was running to get to her, gets a slice in her leg. She wakes up and they're like, yeah, you're Lysandra, we know you're not Aelin. Crap, 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 what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? Aedion's like, yeah, I just said she was on another mission. Yeah, that works as long as Aelin comes back. I really like that scene, and I just love Lysandra and how like she's just so all in with Aelin. And then the next chapter, chapter 2, is Elide with Lorcan and Rowan and Gavriel. Okay, and what's with Sarah J. Maas always talking about Elide and her cycle? Like, I kept thinking, like, is she gonna get pregnant or something? Like, why do we keep hearing about her cycle? But no, she never gets pregnant. I guess it's just to show that Lorcan loves her that much that he's willing to tear off his shirt for her. I mean, it's so weird. But, oh, I love Elide and I love Lorcan. I love just like the tension between them. She's like, yeah, we should go to Doranel. That's where I think Maeve is. And he's like, I don't think so. It's not personal, I just don't think so. And she's like, whatever. Just does not care, doesn't want to talk to him. Rowan was just like dead inside. I felt so bad for him. And Gavriel is just like this sweet Fae male going there and being there and helpful in any way, nicest person you'll ever meet. That was really fun. I really liked reading their storyline and like how they were trying to figure out where she was. And then Aelin being trapped was so awful. You don't really want to like read about someone being trapped, and it sounds really boring. It was so intense to read, and it's so emotional and so vulnerable, yet so strong. Aelin was at the bottom of everything, and you'd never read about her in Endovier. Don't really read about her when she was being trained by Arobynn. So this is the moment where we're really getting this vulnerable side of Aelin, and I loved it. And loved seeing her come back to herself, but still having those moments where she's having a hard time, because even after Endovier, you don't see that with her. Like, she sometimes is like, yeah, I have those scars. Yeah, I had to deal with that. Yeah, I lived through that. But this was a whole nother level. Then we get into, Manon and Dorian. What? Dorian at the beginning of this novel, and like, okay, the spider finding them was so weird. And Dorian somehow takes the spider shifting powers. What just happened there? I didn't know spiders could take the shifting powers, but who knew Dorian could? That was such a wild card. Like, this is gonna change everything I ever thought about the book. I had no idea that this was going to happen. I had no plan that Dorian could shift, and now it's getting amazing because he can shift and no one knows it. Like, I don't necessarily love Dorian and Manon. I'm so confused by him because all of a sudden he had like this alter ego, overly confident male who thinks he can be with a witch who's way older than him. Like, that was weird. You know what? I'm just gonna go with it because Manon needs you, and you're gonna make Manon feel. I don't know how good Manon was for him, but he was good for Manon. And Manon finds the Krakens, and it was so good to see that happening and see, I don't know, her develop some more. I liked how it took time. Like, she had to really prove herself. When Manon had to take on the matrons, that was epic. He killed the yellow leg matron. Like, oh my goodness. It was amazing. I also liked that Dorian and Manon, like, they don't necessarily work super easily. So they were having issues. That felt right. Like, that felt right that they were gonna have issues, that she was gonna have issues of feeling, of caring for him, and he was trying to bring that out of her. He was also so focused on his goal of getting that other word key, which I was confused why he went with the witches. But I was like, I guess it's just because he likes Manon. But he eventually did. He had to separate. I haven't talked about is Aelin's escape. Aelin's escape, oh my gosh, that was so amazing. She escapes herself. Rowan is going after her. Fenris breaking the blood oath. Oh my gosh. That's why she was able to escape. Break my heart. And she's just like, take it off, take it off, take off the mask, take it off, take it off, take it off. And she just screams it over and over and over again. You can tell she's at that final breaking point. I am done. Rowan trying to like be this gentle husband to her, and it's just like doesn't want to scare her off. She was so vulnerable, and she questioned if it was all real. The way that Maeve tortured her was just awful. I never thought of that kind of torture. Like, let's go into your mind, believe that you didn't get tortured, but then you did, or believe that you did get tortured and you didn't, and it just happens over and over again. Oh my goodness. Things start coming together. Then we have the Kale story, right? Not much is happening there. They decide to go to Anieth, and it's so frustrating when you're reading Adian's side. You're like, they are gonna die. Terrasen needs help. Go to Terrasen. Go to Terrasen. And they're like, let's go to Anieth. I'm like, no. Is it Anieth? That's not right. It's Aniel, huh? Correction. They go to Aniel. I was like annoyed by that. I was annoyed that they weren't just like going straight to Terrasen, but I was like, whatever. They're going to Aniel. We'll see what happens. Aelin and the gang find Kale. It's like, what? You're alive? There's like this huge reunion, and they're trying to figure out what's happened so far, and then they get to the point where they're like, yeah, Maeve is Balg. She's a Balg. She's a Balg queen. Disgusting. When she's in Aniel, the dam is about to break, and the water is going to destroy everything. Elide is like, where is Lorcan? And he's out there dying. And she is on a horse going to him. This was one of those amazing epic moments. I was so confused, like, why did they just let her go on the horse? And they did go to a scene where they're like, can we do anything? Will it do anything? And I'm just like, why aren't you guys going to help her? Aelin's just silent. Hello, go help Elide, go help Lorcan. And then she does. She comes out of nowhere, puts up this firewall. Makes everything steam. Rowan makes the steam so it's not gonna kill you, it's not hot. Elide and Lorcan are somehow saved, and Lorcan wants to try and sacrifice himself. And he's like, I love you. Oh. And then they're like, yeah, we love each other. Let's just make this work. And I'm like, yes, yes. Just Aelin bringing all that power. And I thought it was cool how Rowan was like, I don't know if she has any power left because she does nothing. She's just like, booyah, I've saved it for 3 months. That was supposed to be for May, but I will save these people. The next big thing that we have to talk about is Dorian going to Morath. The fact that he can shift is freaking amazing. He's like a little rat or a mouse, and then he's like a little bug. Maeve catches him. They decide to ally together. What does this mean? He gets to Erewhon. I was worried he was gonna get trapped. I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be bad. He like ends up bringing the tower down and destroying Morath. That was so cool. He found the woman who, you know, had the word key in her, and then Maeve kills her. Maeve is just like, break your neck, now let's go. We're going to go and get the other word keys. And he's like, yeah, mind tricks. You can't get in my mind. I'm not gonna show you the keys. I've already got it figured out how to take that away. And then I think somehow he took her powers a little bit. Huge question is what is Dorian? Like, what is he? Is he something else? It was never answered, okay? At the end of the book, he's like, am I human? And the sword of truth is like, yes. What? I don't understand. What are you? I don't get it. I don't get it. It was never answered because he has to be something else as well. So that's still a question about everything. Like, he just was able to do whatever he wanted. It was cool and awesome, but also like, there's magic that has rules, but his just had no rules. He just was like, yep, I can become a shifter. Yep, I can take your powers. Yep, I can bring down Morath. And then he reunites with Aelin. Hey, we should make the lock. We should vote on it. What? We should vote on when to make the lock. This made no sense to me. Why would they make the lock before they go to Terrasen? At this time, we know there's like 100,000 soldiers marching onto Orinth, and they need help immediately. But then Manon and her 13 go and like save the day. The 13 sacrifice themselves. Really, really sad. It breaks my heart. It was amazing. That was really beautiful and so sad at the same time. It was really good to see how Manon cares. You know, she cares about her 13. And like, she's understanding this, and she's understanding grief and loss of people she cares about. Back to Aelin and Dorian meeting and them doing a vote. I was so mad about this. If Aelin dies, all of that firepower that the Valg hate is gone. So why are we doing this now? You guys think you can take on 100,000 soldiers. The reasoning they gave basically is, well, let's get rid of Erewhon because then we can get rid of everything else. I'm still thinking, there's 100,000 soldiers. But I guess, maybe. So they went with that. They decided to do it now. How are they gonna make this work? Who's gonna die, Dorian or Aelin? And I thought no one is gonna die, but how are they gonna work through this? What's going to be the reasoning? Rowan's like, let's use both of you. I'm like, yes, this is gonna work. And then madness happens, okay? Dorian goes, Aelin goes. Dorian's father shows up and is like, I will do it. Okay, let's do that. Let's have Dorian's father do it. Kick Dorian out. Like, no. It's Aelin and the father basically is like, hey, bye. You've gotten all of me. And Aelin is still there and sacrificing herself. I'm like, what? All of this basically was for nothing. She's still sacrificing herself. Her power goes away. Meet the gods, save Elena, and don't take Erewhon. And then they kill Elena still. And they're like, we don't care about Erewhon. And at this point, I was like, what was the point of the lock if they're not going to take Erewhon? Yes, it makes it so she can close the gates. And that was it. That was all that came from this awful, awful transaction, is that she closed the gates and locked Erewhon and Maeve in the realm that they have to live in. And then she doesn't have power. And I'm like, this is impossible. Yeah, she has some power. Enough for you to question, what can she do with it? Moving back to Aedion, Lysandra, everyone in Orinth. And this is where a lot of fighting is happening, but it's all good moments, you know? It's just building up and building up and building up, and there's just this climactic moment when finally Aelin shows up, but she doesn't have her powers. And then she has something up her sleeve. Her and Rowan are like, yeah, we can do this. We can defeat Erewhon if we have this plan. And I'm like, what is this plan? What is this plan? We don't know what the plan is. All of a sudden, she's standing before Maeve and Erewhon outside of the South Gate. Before I go any further, Gabriel dies. That was so sad and all so sudden. What? I was crying. That was a hard one, because so Gabriel's dead, all of the gates are closed into the city, and Aelin is standing there in front of Maeve and Erewhon. Everyone's inside. Rowan is like, Aelin would want us to defend the city. What? And then a lead was like, she's out there in front of Maeve and Erewhon. We need to do something. She comes up with this genius idea. It was so cool. Erewhon can sense the healing. My baby just woke up. Okay, I'm going to try and feed him right now. Erewhon comes to the tower and he thinks he sees Irene Towers, which is Westfall. And he's like, I've been waiting for you. You guys are also executioners and you can basically create the word keys. I was like, what? This is amazing. It becomes Dorian, and then Lysandra comes out of nowhere, and then Elide comes out of nowhere and stabs him. And then Irene comes and she's like, pow! With my hands, I'm gonna kill you. And they do, and it's so cool. Then we get to Maeve and Aelin. Aelin has nothing, and Maeve knows it. Aelin doesn't fall for her tricks. Finally, Rowan comes to her aid with Fenris and Lorcan. They are put into Maeve's spell. That was so sad to see them suffering. Aelin's not like, fine, I'll give myself up, you know. Instead, she's like, no, stop it. That's not gonna happen. And she tries to wake them up. And the big surprise was all of those portals open. All of these people come out of it who are willing to fight. The Karanam bond. Hello, why didn't I think about that? She could still use more magic and power if Rowan is near her. And so that was so cool. And then Athril's ring. Everything, it made sense at that point. I was like, no wonder she wanted that ring so badly, because it could destroy her. When you're reading that scene in Heir of Fire, I thought it was always weird that she wanted it that badly that she would give up Rowan. Now it's like, yeah, that makes sense. You didn't want to die, and that thing will kill you. And it makes me think back to Athril and like what that whole history was, because I think there were two different stories. Epic. Everything was so epic. And then there was still like 60 pages of the book. So everything is just so nicely wrapped up. I loved seeing everyone's ending. I loved seeing that she becomes the queen. She, you know, reunites with everyone, is thanking everyone, brings all the women together, and they go and parade through the city. She thanks them individually. So touching and moving. Oh, Elide and Lorcan, I loved it. He's like, you know, when he was being tortured by Maeve, he just had like this look of devastation. It was her basically putting him down. He's like, I think you're my mate. And I'm like, yes, you guys are mates. Finally he sees her and he's like, ask me to marry you. Oh, Lorcan Salvatore, will you marry me? He's like, I'll think about it. I laughed so hard. Finally he's like, yes, I will. And she's like, you're gonna be Lord Lorcan Lockin. I laugh every time I hear it and think about it. It's hilarious. I would be happy to be Lord Lorcan Lockin. I love it. That final page in the book, it just was so good. And she's just like opening up the blinds and it's like, booyah, king's flame everywhere. But what about Elide and being human and dying? Like, that's sad. I was hoping they were gonna be like, she's a witch, she's half witch, so she's actually gonna live a long life. But that was never stated. So I think she's dying eventually, and he's just gonna live after that, and that's depressing. Otherwise, I really loved it. I also loved Dorian and Manon's ending. Like, they were just like, you know, we'll hopefully see each other again and we'll figure this out and we'll be there for each other. That felt right. Like, they can't just all of a sudden be together, and she had so much to work through and still has so much to go through, and it's just really good to see that that is happening. Like, it's not just every fairy tale ending. Sandra and Adian, you know, they're finally together. I did not feel like they were mates. I felt like they were good friends, and then they cared about each other, and then they were, you know, together. But apparently they're mates. Such a good book, such a good ending. Like, it was just so beautiful and emotional and everything I wanted it to be and more. I'm really, really happy about this book. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Please comment and tell me what your favorite part of the book is, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye!